Hi, I'm Ashley Bullington, and you're watching the Warmup, presented by your local Geico agents in Cypress, Spring, Pearland, and East Houston. Guys, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, isn't it? Everywhere you look, there's decorations, toys, Santa. No snow though. But when we get close to Christmas, we also get close to state championship games. Though it's still a few weeks away for teams here in the Houston area, playoffs are underway, and presents will be given in the form of gold balls to decorate the cases of teams. We will have some great games featured on this week's episode of Chevy's Inside High School Sports. Our first matchup is C.E. King versus Shadow Creek. C.E. King won its first playoff win since 2015 and first ever in Class 6A with a 56-0 win over Channelview. C.E. King has a three-headed monster coming out of the backfield with quarterback Cameron Keyshawn and backs Jarrell Wembley and D.K. Hammond. The defense did a good job as they didn't allow any points and gave C.E. King their sixth ever playoff shutout. They take on a hard-to-beat Shadow Creek, who won the 5A Division I state championship in 2019. The Sharks beat Clear Creek last week 55-6. Power 5 quarterback Kyron Drones threw for 3 touchdown passes, and the defense held Clear Creek scoreless until the final period. This will be an interesting game to watch that the Houston area should keep their eyes on. Pearland, Dawson, and North Shore go head-to-head this week as well. Both of these teams are undefeated in the 2020 season. Dawson had Dickinson last week and now defending 6A champions, who are on a 26-game winning streak. Dawson's offense is powered by Torrance Burgess and Jaden Stewart. North Shore cruised to victory last week, leading Deer Park 35-0 at half and coasting to a 59-7 victory in By District. Dawson and North Shore share one common opponent this year, Shadow Creek. Dawson defeated the Sharks 31-28 and North Shore was victorious 38-21. The winner of this game gets the winner of Cypress versus Tompkins. Klein, Kane, and Westfield have a battle on the gridiron in the area round. The Westfield Mustangs are ranked number 17 in the state and had a big win last week over the College Park Cavaliers 33-7. The Mustangs have now advanced to the second round 8 times since 2011. This is a rematch of a 2019 by-district matchup where the Mustangs beat the Hurricanes 41-15. Klein Kane got their first ever school playoff victory last week by defeating Cy Woods. Against College Park, the Mustangs defense played lights out to hold the Cavaliers to 54 total yards in the first half. Will Klein Kane be able to have an explosive offense against one of the best defenses in the state? Our DQ game of the week is Cypress versus Katy Tompkins. Both of these teams are powerhouses in the state. The Bobcats flew past Westside 47-7, and running back L.J. Johnson ran for 154 yards and 2 scores, with quarterback Carter Cravens passing for 4 touchdowns to lead the Bobcats to victory. The Falcons' running game was on point as running back Marquise Shoulders ran for 118 yards and a touchdown. And Sherman Smith added 49 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns to his stat line as well. It's expected this one will be a low-scoring, blow-for-blow matchup. The difference could be Jalen Milroe and the playmakers on the Falcons' offense. So many great games, it almost feels like we're opening presents and getting Christmas a week early. We will have all of those games and more that you'll be seeing highlights of on this week's episode of Chevy's Inside High School Sports. Also, make sure you vote on our Hot Play of the Week poll presented by Louisiana Hot Sauce for a chance for your community to move on to compete for the Play of the Year. Here's last week's winner. There was a Christmas present given earlier this week as Conroe Oak Ridge was awarded our local Houston area Geico agents Team of the Week for their 30-20 win over Eisenhower last Thursday night. That win was their first since 2002, breaking an 18-year playoff win drought. They are doing this by buying into what new head coach Mark Smid and his 2020 senior class are selling.
I think what helps also is just being able to, most of us have played together since 7th, 8th grade. So our chemistry is pretty high, and then we just all love the game and love playing with each other and just love winning. So it wasn't that hard to buy into a system, knowing that the system works as well too. So it wasn't that hard to buy into the system and just carry on from there and execute.
No one really cares who gets the credit, just as long as at the end of the day that we're successful. And so I think the kids have done a great job of buying into that and being unselfish. And it's great to see supported with a trip to the playoffs and a
of Oak Ridge football. I think that mediocrity is not, because my past few years at Oak Ridge, it was like kind of like being average was normal. And I think that this year, a lot of that is flipped and people are believing, and they're, we're bought in and people are believing in themselves and in the team and in Coach Schmidt. And I feel like moving forward, the coach of Oak Ridge is just going to be that like winning is the only way. We're not going to take like losing like lightly, like it doesn't mean anything. But we're going to flush it, and we're going to, get our pads ready for the next day and just push forward as hard as we can, because we can't dwell in the past over a loss like how it used to be.
We'll also have a great inside story coming at you this week on Chevy's Inside High School Sports on the Fort Bend Bush Band.
Fine Arts Holiday Extravaganza was originally, it was a concept that we wanted to do with the band department. And then from there, we can't do indoor performances, so we looked at doing an outdoor event was what we're going to do with the band. And then I got to thinking, well, there's other parts of my department. I'm the Fine Arts department head here at George Bush High School, and well, they can't perform. Let's give them a performance opportunity. So as the genesis, as this came about, we just made it a whole department, from the art department doing the artwork to all the performing groups performing, to the theater doing the emceeing. I mean, it just became an organic process. It just kept growing and growing to the final production that we did tonight.
Here on The Warmth, we'd like to recognize those outside of the events we typically cover on Inside High School Sports. These athletes and teams are making names for themselves and doing big things. This week, we are introducing you to the Houston Memorial Tennis Team. The Mustangs are considered a dynasty in the Houston area tennis community, as they have reached the state championship tournament 11 straight seasons from 2008 to 2019. They were the #1 team in Texas for 2020 and fell short of the tournament with a semifinal loss to Katie Tompkins. That doesn't take away from the amazing accomplishments of this Houston Memorial squad, who won the state title in 2017 and 2019. And this season won multiple titles while making their way through playoffs. In 2019, they had a perfect 19-0 season. Senior Drew Morris recently signed her national letter of intent with Southern Methodist University to continue her college career. Morris's mom was also an SMU Mustang and an All-American. Now it's time for everyone's favorite part of the warm-up, the extra point. Can you beat this George Ranch athlete in this week's game?
Electrical skateboard, an elite controller, a RC. It's like a RC flying or airplane, RC airplane. Some cleats, football cleats. A football, obviously that, yeah. New games.
Yeah, you're good. That'll work.
Big news out of El Campo as head coach Wayne Condra has announced his retirement. He was 77 and 28 as a head coach, and he took the helm for the Ricebirds in 2003. Fort Bend Hightower head coach Joseph Sam was in quarantine for the Hurricanes' bi-district matchup against unbeaten Port Arthur Memorial. The Hurricanes broke their first-round curse with a big-time win, and Sam was pretty excited.
Let's go! I said, let's go! We did it! Curse over!
That's all we have for this episode. Follow all of Inside High School Sports social accounts to stay up to date on everything going on in the high school sports scene. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. That throughout the week will get you ready for the main event, Chevy's Inside High School Sports on KHU 11 at 11 p.m., hosted by Matt Musil. Thanks for watching this week's episode of The Warm-Up, presented by your local Houston area Geico agents in Cypress, Spring, Pearland, and East Houston. To get more information or a quote, go to geico.com/Houston. I'm Ashley Bullington, and I hope you're warmed up for all the playoff action coming your way on Chevy's Inside High School Sports. And remember, there's only 1 week to keep your name on the nice list before Christmas.